Yeah, my name is Patsy Lee, and I'm first generation American. My mom and dad came from China. I am the third child. I have an older brother, David, an older sister, Sylvia, and a younger brother, Alan Jr. I grew up here at the store, and I went to Davis Elementary, just right down the street here, John Spring Junior High, and then Tucson High, and then of course the University of Arizona. I majored in education, and I taught for 40 years. I taught for 30 years. I got to retire, and then I coached 10 more years in the school district. I did 28 years at Tucson High, and the last 11 years I did at Palo Verde High School. My dad, Alan, fought in World War II, and he got citizenship plus a GI Bill, and my dad wanted to go to college, and he kind of grew up in California, in San Francisco area. My uncle had already moved to Tucson, and my uncle said, hey, there's a university that you can come and use your GI Bill, and it's a small town that's growing. So my dad ended up, after the war in 1947, and he ended up in Tucson, going to enrolling at the University of Arizona in the College of Engineering. And like most typical young fathers, which he was, Mom was still in China when he lived in America. So he knew he had to make money. So while he was going to school his first year, he was working for my uncle at the grocery store. And at a lot of these Chinese grocery stores, they have the same salespeople come around selling products. And at these Chinese stores, we have spices where we call bills spices. You know, they're like oregano pack. And the salesman, all the Chinese grocers called them Chili Bill. So one day when my dad was working, Chili Bill says to my dad, hey Alan, there's a store for sale on the west side of town, because my uncle's store was off of 22nd and I-10, and it was a different neighborhood. So my dad goes, I might be able to save enough money to buy my own store. And then I can bring Mom over from China and we can start a family. So my dad starts saving, and he has to quit school because he has to work, 15 hours a day instead of, 6 hours, and go to school for 5 hours. So he quit after his freshman year at the U of A and worked real hard to save his money to buy Allen's Market. So we've been here since 1949. Being an educator, I always thought school was the center, but the school was the center of bringing different neighborhoods, different kids. Our neighborhood where kids grew up and played and did their grocery was the neighborhood grocery stores. Allen's Market was the center of Columbia and Delaware Street. Being in a Hispanic neighborhood, you gotta remember language barrier. Mom was just brought from China from Dad when he bought the store, and Mom's only language was Chinese. And so she comes here, and we're in a Hispanic neighborhood, so Mom's second language becomes Spanish, because her best friends ended up being the neighborhood women here. And she had 3 best friends that just lived across the street there and 2 down there, and they taught her to cook Mexican food, make tamales, make tacos, street style. Mom taught them how to cook real Chinese food, not, going to the quick Chinese and just get chow mein, chop suey. But the big thing was the friendship that helped my mom to learn to speak English. And then the big thing, most Chinese, they understood about giving credit at the grocery store. Most of the neighbors here worked at the mines, and they were only getting paid every Friday or every other Friday. So, they didn't have money through the week to buy groceries, so we always had a credit sheet where they can buy groceries. Let's see, they send their son or daughter in and had a little list of milk, bread, meat, and all you had to do was sign your name, credit, and then the following Friday or Saturday, the mom or dad would come in and pay for the bill. So we had a daily credit, and that was 99% of all the little markets in Tucson did that, because we were probably the first banks, that gave credit for groceries. And my uncle's store had gasoline, believe it, he had a gasoline pump. That was our biggest thing, was giving credit. There was another store right behind us, and the neighborhood would say, okay, we can buy groceries over there, run to this store and buy groceries. And so you had enough groceries for the week, and you just come back and pay. My friends, they would come in and they would say, I would like a soda and candy bar, and my mom would say, did your mom say it was okay? And of course they would lie, said yes, but what happens, they had to sign their little name on there, and then when their parents came to pay the bill, they went, Max and Patsy got chips and sodas and without our permission, so, you know, it was kind of neat. So that was probably how my parents made their money and how we developed all these friendships we have today. You didn't have to have dollars to buy groceries. We'd trade, you know, venison, we'd trade doves were easy because my mom was very into Asian medicine, so she needed dove and quail to cook, make us healthy kids, you know, her medicine soup. But yes, it really trade for us to eat and not trade to sell because it probably would be legal. But yeah. For mom and dad to cook their foods that they grew up with in China. I think the neighborhood little markets or grocery stores are disappearing because of the cost of food. And I'll give you a perfect example. My dad, let's see, when supermarkets came about, is when the little grocery stores started disappearing because we can sell a 2-liter of soda, Pepsi or Coke or Sprite, probably to you for $1.95. But you can go to Walgreens or Safeway right now and get it for 99 cents if you buy 3 of them or something like that. So that was a perfect example why our little grocery stores couldn't compete. So just the cost of volume killed the little grocery stores. Because my dad, for the week, probably can sell 24 2-liters. You go to Safeway, they can sell 240 in one day. So just the volume of buying groceries, bulk-wise, killed the little grocery store. That's how we developed a tight Chinese community, is what we did. We went to PepsiCo, we went to Kalil, we went whoever sold us groceries, and we banded together. And we got the 100 grocery stores and say, hey, we'll buy 1,000, but can you deliver 24 to Allen's Market, 24 to Sunshine, 24 to Lee Yun Market, to 36 to Empire. So we probably 10 to 20 years we did that, and that brought our community so much tighter because we had to be involved with each other to get the prices down and exist. But that got killed when my generation ended up coming because my parents and all my parents' friends that were here in the 40s and 50s made money to send their kids to college. They wanted them to have a better life. And like myself, I became a teacher. I didn't want life for the grocery store. That's an 18-hour day. But I spent 15 teaching and coaching, but it was something I loved. My brother, he was a pharmacist. You think he wanted the grocery store? No. My sister is an accountant. You think she wanted? No. So while we were kids, the grocery store was getting smaller and smaller and disappearing because of volume and cost and running the grocery store. The second major thing that probably destroyed was our generation. We were all college degrees. Even if we didn't get a college degree, we were in real estate. We made our own money. We did not want to sit behind the counter for 18 hours and just nickel dimes ourselves to death. So I think those 2 things is the volume cost of groceries and our generation changing it. That's why I'm sitting in front of Allen's Market empty, ready to be remodeled to be my new home. My mom learned her English from her neighbor friends and watching General Hospital. I'd come home and Mom says, Scotty and Laura are getting married. And I go, who the heck is Scotty and Laura? Her 3 best friends would come to the store, 1 o'clock, wherever General Hospital, and they watch it all together, and Mom would learn her English, and of course she spoke Spanish because all her customers and her best friends were Spanish speaking. Well, the market closed probably in 2003. My mom was renting it to one of her friends, but what happened is her friend's husband died, and she couldn't run it by herself. And my mom kind of came over to try to keep her busy, but it's like two older women. It's too dangerous, you know. And then Auntie Carmen passed away, and so my two brothers and sister, we closed the store up. And it's been empty probably for 20 years now. And that's when I decided to remodel and build a house. I tried my best to remodel it and keep the store, but it was just structure. It's the front is adobe, and so the adobe foundation wouldn't hold our new roof. And everybody advised me, yeah, it's so old, Patsy. You don't want to use the same piping, the same plumbing. You're going to have trouble. Just start off new, 21st century material. And so that's what I'm doing. But I'm kind of excited because my architect is doing me a favor. We're going to put the front of my house that looks just like the front of the grocery store. So I'm kind of excited about that. So that's why I love to do this project. So when I put that code up there, I want people to realize my house was actually an old grocery store.